double days, and so they've handled them very well. 2 days aren't what they used to be, obviously, but it's still a grind. But we got a big scrimmage tomorrow. We backed off a little bit this afternoon as far as took the pads off and shortened practice up a little bit because tomorrow's a big scrimmage for us.
That's what Dirk was saying about 2 days. It's different these days. I'm saying that walking into Keys Biking practice.
Really?
That's good news. Well, tomorrow's scrimmage, what are you looking for?
More of the same from the first scrimmage, except hopefully everything's better. It's about very similar format. Very similar length, but we got to be cleaner. We got to make more plays. We got to tackle better. We got to block better. We got to get off blocks better. You hope everything is that much better than it was in scrimmage one.
Is this a huge audition for those three areas you talked about, the O-line, quarterbacks, linebackers, as far as?
Yeah, every day's an audition, but obviously the live work is the bottom line, and so it's getting close to where we've got to make decisions. The live work is the time for that is running out, and so there's only going to be a couple more live sessions, and so they got to make the most of that.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask just an injury update, Sam. And
Sam should be back in a few days. He's a tough kid. It's just a shoulder, and he had a similar injury a couple years ago on the other shoulder, and he bounced back in 5 or 6 days. So we expect him back shortly. We may hold him until next Monday. He's a proven commodity, and so we'll err on the side of caution with him.
LT on the other hand.
A couple weeks. Yeah, same thing he did too. He did that to the other knee a few years ago, and so he was, I think he was 2.5 weeks, again, coming back from that one, so that's a rough estimate.
Got Jacoby Hale with the defensive ends today.
Yeah, Jacoby, he's been playing some end and nickel packages in years past, but we're going to try him full-time there for a few days, and he looks good. I think he's his fast twitch, his angles to the football are such that we think he's going to make a good defensive end, but we're going to take a look at him for a few days and then make a decision.
How are you going to split up the reps with the quarterbacks tomorrow?
We'll talk about that tonight. We don't have that defined exactly, but it's going to be very equitable between those first three guys, and then Schultz will get the least amount.
Is it nice to see, you mentioned earlier, the gaps closing? Jordan said he likes the competition, and he likes it all. That's
very nice to see, especially when the top guy's performing well and the bottom, the guys below him are shrinking that gap. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see the gap shrink because your starter's not performing well. And so that's ideal. The ideal situation is where your starters are all performing well and the twos are shrinking that gap and pushing them.
So you're seeing Travis and John elevate towards the top level.
Absolutely, and John's been steady every day in practice, and Travis, as I mentioned before, started a little slow, but he's really picked it up the last 5 or 6 practices.
The move with Hale, is that just because you feel like you've got enough linebackers, or just it better suits his talents? What kind of...
All the above. We are a little bit thin at defensive end relative to some other positions. We're so deep at defensive tackle and got a bunch of linebackers, and also it's his skill set. He's a north-south guy. He likes to go from point A to point B, and he gets there in a hurry. And that OE position, that open end position, you don't have to be 6'4", 270 to play that spot. We've had guys in the past that have functioned very well at his size, and so we'll see what happens.
Did anybody have a good day overall? Both
Joe
practices?
Smith. Joe Smith played very well today, and it's good to see because it's his 3rd year in the program. It's time for him to step up a little bit and become the type of player that we felt he could be when we recruited him, and he's starting to become that.
How quickly do you want to solidify your starting 5 offensive linemen?
Sooner the better, and I'm going to tell you right now, we'll probably have that in place Monday, or if not sooner. But when we start going into game prep, which essentially is Monday, even though that first 4 days is a trial run, we'd like to have that intact. And now that's assuming Miles Mason is healthy and ready to go. If he's not healthy, then we may make a switch later on, depending on how well his replacement does. But ideally by a week from today.
2 minutes drill there.